This is the road to 2019, and for these particular days, we are focused a little bit on the semi-finals, which are all the assembly elections, and I can tell you the rhetoric is starting to get nastier and nastier. Lots of personal attacks. We are going to be touching upon some of them today as the battle continues to heat up. Also, a lot happening in the courts, and we are today going to be reviewing a little bit as to how the various court battles may play itself out, both in the semi-finals and then in the finals next year. But before we go into any of that and I introduce the great panel that we have for you today, I just want to quickly take you through our regular feature where we look at the good news, the bad news for the government, and also the top political developments and how opposition unity is going. So good news for the government, oil prices are sliding, the rupee has strengthened, so the economic numbers may start to look a little bit better. That's good news. Along with this, another piece of really good news for the government is retail inflation, which is now at a one-year low. If price rise is one of the big issues that people look at in an election, that's something which will make the government very happy. Of course, development, all of that continues to be spoken about. The first inland water terminal is opened in the PM's constituency. I'm sure that's something they will be talking about. Now, bad news for the government. Rafale deal not going away anywhere in a hurry, contrary to what we keep hearing. The court has been listening to this. It has posed some tough questions for the government, and we're going to try and see what the court's going to eventually say on this. Also, on the question of the 2002 riots, the top court is going to be hearing Zakia Jafri's plea against that clean sheet that was given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Also, we are seeing defections in Rajasthan, where many BJP leaders have jumped ship and gone across to the Congress party. Is that in some way a signal of what is to be expected in Rajasthan? Well, we'll wait and find out. Now, other political developments, manifesto season is here, so it's starting to be released. The Congress manifesto, interesting, they're talking about cows and Rampath and other issues, so soft Hindutva, is that what the Congress party is thinking of? Well, who knows? BJP, in the meantime, has dropped a hardliner MLA in Alwar, which is one of the more polarized areas. So it's done that. So, both people segregate coming towards the center. Well, I think it's too early to say that. Also, we've had Amit Shah coming out and saying you cannot compare triple talaq and Sabrimala, but both of them obviously are areas that are creating a lot of interest. Now, on the question of other political developments and how the index of opposition unity is panning itself out, clearly, because the BSP and the SP and the Congress are fighting separately in Chhattisgarh, there is a lot of rhetoric that is carrying on against each other right now. Mayawati telling NDTV, for example, both the BJP and the Congress are snakes, or language to that effect. In the meantime, Akhilesh Yadav also slamming the Congress party and, in a sense, hinting that the Congress may have also played its role in allowing defaulters to escape. Meanwhile, some trouble in the Bihar alliance as well, as Kushwaha is continuing to spar with the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister. Okay, so those are some of the political developments. That's how the index of opposition unity is going in. Now let's get stuck into the main discussion and the main debate. And a great panel joining us. Pawan Khera joining us again from the Congress Party. M.K. Venu is going to be talking to us about the courts, about rhetoric and a lot more. Besides, Shantanu, it's great to have you with us as well. You really have been following what's been happening with the UP Chief Minister and a lot others who will be able to figure it out. Avi Singh, thanks a lot for joining us. Top advocate is going to help us understand what the courts are going to be doing. Professor Sudha Pai is joining us, former Professor JNU, political analyst. Great to have you with us as well. And Lalita Kumaramangalam joining us from the BJP. Thank you all so much for being with us. Now,
good evening.
Should we start with the courts first, or we start with rhetoric first? Let's get the rhetoric out of the way, because the rhetoric on both sides is starting to become more and more hostile, and you can already see that the next 6 months are going to see a lot of language that is going to, which is really going to get things stirred up a little bit. Rahul Gandhi has been fairly consistently putting out tweets, making comments, directly attacking the Prime Minister. The Chaukidari, Chor hai, barbs, of course, is something that we're all used to. Prime Minister now has also been hitting back in an equally aggressive fashion against Rahul Gandhi and the Gandhi family by name. This, for example, is what the Prime Minister said just today.
उनको ये परेशानी है कि हिंदुस्तान तो उनके परिवार के नाम लिख करके अंग्रेज लोग गए थे। पता नहीं अंग्रेजों के वारिस कौन थे, हम तो नहीं जानते भाई, लेकिन उनको लगता है कि अंग्रेज उनके परिवार के नाम पर हिंदुस्तान लिख के गए थे और 4-4 पीढ़ी हमारे हाथ में रहा। अब उनके गले उतरता नहीं। 4-4.5 साल हो गए, वे 440 में से 40 हो गए। देश की जनता ने उनको चुन चुन करके घर भेज दिया, लेकिन अभी भी आंसू बहाते रहते हैं। चाय वाला बैठ गया। एक परिवार हिंदुस्तान के लोकतंत्र किसी को ठेका नहीं दिया हुआ है, अभी भी रो रहे हैं। और अब तो नई चीज लाए, कहते हैं पंडित नेहरू के कारण ये मोदी चाय वाला प्रधानमंत्री बन गया। अगर आप दावा करते हैं कि पंडित नेहरू के कारण अगर मोदी देश का प्रधानमंत्री बन गया, एक चाय वाला प्रधानमंत्री बन गया, अरे देश छोड़ो, एक बार, बहुत बार नहीं, एक बार कम से कम 5 साल के लिए आपके परिवार के बाहर का कोई अच्छे कांग्रेसी को कांग्रेस पार्टी का अध्यक्ष बना दो, मैं मान लूंगा। अरे मैं मान लूंगा कि नेहरू जी ने ऐसी लोकतांत्रिक परंपराएं पैदा की थी कि जिसके कारण कोई समर्पित कांग्रेसी कांग्रेस पार्टी का अध्यक्ष बन पाया। एक परिवार के बाहर जरा कांग्रेस पार्टी के अध्यक्ष को बनकर कर दिखा। 5 साल के, ज्यादा नहीं।
Okay, so let me turn that over to the panel. Before we come to the courts, I want to turn that particular challenge over. Pawan Khera, just out of curiosity, when is the Congress party going to learn that every time you make a particular chai wala remark, Narendra Modi leaps upon that with both hands, grabs it, runs with it? I mean, how many elections has a particular chai wala Bab come back to bite you in?
I fail to understand, Vikram. Ever since he's become the Prime Minister, he's become very touchy about the chai issue.
No,
hey, what is so wrong about being a chai wala? He should assert it.
Of course, there's nothing wrong with being a chai wala, but you give him...
Is he allowed to interrupt? Then allow me to interrupt every time he speaks.
Okay.
Is that okay?
This is television.
Fine.
So I'm going
no, then I'll also ensure that he doesn't. I won't let him speak.
Okay,
it's
fine.
a promise.
Let him speak. Let him
Thank
speak.
you.
Let him speak. Let him speak. This is different.
भाई आप 2014 से बार-बार you kept saying चाय वाला प्राइम मिनिस्टर बन गया। अरे अब कोई और कह देता है तो आपको पीड़ा होती क्यों?
No.
Just because you become the Prime Minister of India, you look down upon the chai wala. Why are you ashamed of it?
What is the narrative? Vikram, we all know the chai wala
I'll come back.
I'll come back.
Let him answer.
Dr. Manmohan Singh came from the most humble backgrounds. Did he ever flaunt it? अरे he reached where he reached. अरे भैया आपका मौका आएगा तब बोलना ना, इतना उछल क्यों रहे हो भाई? बैठ जाओ शांति से।
I'm sitting.
नहीं तो हमें भी जवाब देना आता है। तो शांत बैठ जाइए। डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह never flaunted. अरे मैं बहुत गरीब खानदान से आया हूं, कभी नहीं बोला। इनको क्या शौक है? अरे अब आप चाय वाले नहीं हैं, अब आप गरीब नहीं हैं, अब आप भारत के प्रधानमंत्री हैं, काम करके दिखाइए। 5 साल हो गए, अभी भी वही भाषण। अरे भैया प्लीज give us your report card.
Okay.
What have you done for the farmers, for the unemployed youth? Where is the price of Rafale?
Okay, can I interrupt you?
What is this nonsense? What narrative is this guy building?
Can I interrupt you in full flow now? Let me get you inside. Now, let me interrupt you and get you inside. Okay. One point, why does this issue keep coming up? And the fact of the matter, Pawan Khera, I'm going to get him in, but frankly, if you're going to give him
the chai wala term invented by Mani Shankar here, then people like Shashi Tharoor, who are the new English speaking Sanjay Nirupam, they keep throwing chai wala jibe of Narendra Modi, and he's responding to it. He's not inventing this term that I am a chai wala, because he's responding that why you're looking down
of it.
Why you're looking down upon me?
The country is proud of it. Our democracy is proud of it. Why is he not proud of it?
Can I ask you
Why is he not proud of it? Why is he not proud of it?
Congress
No, Shashi Tharoor never said that. Shashi Tharoor never said that.
Congress posters said on social
So,
media.
Shashi Tharoor never said it.
Shouldn't you by now be able to tell your MPs that these are the sort of things that will be grist to Narendra Modi's mill?
People
please
who are
don't
not
say this.
alive are being attacked by Mr. Narendra Modi. He can't face a small attack. How thin-skinned is he?
Okay. Lalita,
अरे नेहरू जी नहीं रहे, 60 साल हो गए उनको गए हुए, आज भी उन पर हमला बोलते हैं. जो जिंदा है उनसे मुकाबला करिए ना.
Okay. Lalita Kumar Mangalam, I mean, there are a couple of questions.
Can I come in, please?
Yeah, I want to get you in. I want to ask you a question. Actually, on a factual point, a non-family member has become the president of the Congress party
Several times.
in the past. So, I mean, just on a factual point, that has happened. And secondly,
In the past.
Sorry, carry on, Lalita.
Yeah, in the past.
In the past, of course, in the past.
Everything is in the past only.
Yeah, in the past. Now, can I come in? I'd just like to say something.
Please.
That regardless of whatever may be Mr. Pawan Khera's outrage over Mr. Modi's response to the Chaiwala jibe, this time by Shashi Tharoor, the fact remains that Shashi Tharoor has not done any, has not really given tribute where it should be given. What he said was that Jawaharlal Nehru today is responsible for Mr. Modi, a chaiwala, or not Mr. Modi, just a chaiwala, becoming the Prime Minister. Now, that's both factually and extremely, I think, in a way, morally incorrect. This country's democracy is based on the Constitution of India, in which, of course, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru also had a part to play as the first Prime Minister of India, etc. But primarily, today, the democracy is alive and kicking and growing extremely well because of the Constitution of India that was framed by not just one man, by many men, but principally Dr. Ambedkar. I can give you many, many names, most of whom belong to the Congress party and many from outside the party too, who were responsible for the growth and laying the base for democracy in this country. And the people, above all, the people of this country who have voted people whom they want to vote for. And that is what democracy is about. What Mr. Modi said today is that it is not, democracy is not owned by a particular family or a particular party or a particular person. Democracy is about this country. When the congressmen make comments like this, they don't just insult Mr. Modi, and Mr. Modi, I think, is used to their barbs by now, but they try to not only run with the hare and with the hounds, they make fools of themselves and insult the people of this country. We've had brilliant leaders through the years, whether it was Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, whether it was Jagjeevan Ram, whether it was Nehru himself, whether it was many, many other names I could come up with. And to claim that one man or one family is responsible for today India being such a great democracy is absolutely factually and in every other way morally.
Okay.
It is wrong. And that is what I think we should be concentrating on, this obsession that the Congress party seems to have developed with one family.
Then they are not attacking the voters who kept re-electing the Congress. But when we attack Mr. Modi, we are attacking the voters of the country. Wow. Brilliant double standards, madam. आप कहते हैं 60 साल हमने राज किया, तो आपकी दया से नहीं किया है. वोटर ने चुनकर भेजा इसलिए किया है. You also insult the voters when every time you attack the Gandhi family and the Congress party. Wait, I didn't interrupt. Wait, I didn't interrupt.
I am not saying that there were not great leaders within the Congress.
Please have the decency of not interrupting.
I am saying
I did not
that
interrupt, so please do not interrupt, madam. I expect this decency from you.
The people of this country
Please
who
have
actually
some
made
decency
Narendra
and do
Modi
not
the Prime
interrupt.
Minister.
Do not interrupt.
It was not
do not
Nehru who
interrupt,
made him
otherwise
Prime
I'll also
Minister.
interrupt
Or
every time you open your mouth.
Okay, can nobody interrupt? Please.
No, set the rules right at the beginning. If she interrupts, do you think I won't interrupt?
So there's no big
Pawan,
deal.
one second. Can one at a time. Pawan, say what you want to do. She was replying.
No.
Say what you have to say.
She can only reply once I have finished saying something. Okay. Just as I stopped, I was not
all right, finish then what you have to say, then I want to get her to reply.
First of all, madam, I hope you've read the history of the Congress. Brahmanand Reddy, P.V. Narasimha Rao, Devkant Barua, Jagjeevan Ram, Nijlingappa. I can give you a list of presidents of the party which did not belong to the family. Number one. Number two, 1989 onwards, there have been 6 governments either supported by the Congress or led by the Congress. Show me one Gandhi as the Prime Minister. Read your history before opening your mouth. You and the Prime Minister both, and Mr. Amit Shah.
All right, Lalita Kumar Mangalam, now let her reply.
Creating a false narrative.
All right, fine, now let her reply. Lalita Kumar Mangalam.
Mr. Pawan Khera, first of all, Mr. Khera, I would request you not to lose your temper. and use unnecessarily unparliamentary words.
Give me one word which was unparliamentary, madam.
Okay, now let him.
Now,
One word which was unparliamentary.
Why
I
do
do
you
not
not
belong to the
agree?
BJP. I do not use unparliamentary
Okay,
language.
let
so there
that
you
Give me
are-
one
there
word
you
which
are
was
interrupting
unparliamentary.
me.
No,
Let
she
her
has
answer.
charged me with something. She better
Okay.
clarify. What was the unparliamentary word? Please tell us.
Okay, now let her answer. Let her answer.
I'm not here to argue about your behavior.
You cannot charge
That's not my
people
problem.
without
You're from the
evidence.
Congress
What
and
was
you
the
want to
unparliamentary
answer
word?
the
No, no, I'm
your
sorry.
behavior
How
Are
can
you
say
allowing her
that?
to answer now?
No
You
way.
said that don't
Nobody
interrupt.
can ever
Enough
accuse me
evidence.
of using an unparliamentary
Please.
word.
Okay.
So she better clarify or
Don't try and
apologize.
digress from the topic at
Then you
hand,
please
Mr.
withdraw that
Khera. It's
remark.
an old
What
trick
was the
and I'm
unparliamentary
used to
language?
it.
You cannot just
Please
get
don't
away
try
by
and
using such
digress
remarks.
Now,
from the
Pavan,
topic.
I'm sorry, Vikram.
I don't
I have
need-
to protect my
I
honor.
don't need
She won't.
to
You
prove
won't.
it.
Okay.
How can she
I
talk
don't
like
need
this?
to prove it. That's
How
not
can
what
she talk
we are
like this?
discussing
What
here.
was the
Pavan.
unparliamentary
Why
word?
are you so afraid
Where
to let
was
me
the
talk?
unparliamentary
Pavan.
word? You first
What's
tell
your
me.
fear?
Pavan, you asked her to
Why
shut
are
up.
you so
No, I'm
I'll tell you what,
afraid?
you
Let
told
me
her to
state
shut her
my
mouth.
case.
Not once did I use the word shut up.
Okay, fine. Now, Lalita
Mr.
Kumaramangam.
Khera,
Nonsense.
Lalita
you're not
Kumaramangam,
running
carry
the
on.
show and you're not running my part in the
You
show
cannot
either.
decide
So,
what
I
was
mean, you'll have to
unparliamentary
Okay, now you
without
told-
first telling me what was unparliamentary.
You
I mean,
told
you'll have
her.
to
You
just be
told her not
satisfied
to
with my
interrupt. Now,
not
please stop
bothering to
interrupting. Let her
permit
speak.
you to
Was it
digress from the
unparliamentary?
topic.
Okay. Okay, fine. Whether it's unparliamentary or not, now Lalita Kumaramangam, finish what you were saying, so I can get on to the rest of the show. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, what I am saying is that I was the one who said that there were many great leaders from the Congress too. I did not say there weren't. What I said is that it is wrong to say that it is only Jawaharlal Nehru or whatever, their family, that particular Nehru Gandhi family, that is responsible for democracy flourishing in this country. Forget about Mr. Modi and him being made Prime Minister by them or whatever it is. We can leave that aside. As I said, Mr. Modi is strong enough to be able to counter their barbs, as he has proven time and time again. The fact is today that whatever the Congress or anybody else or their acolytes or whatever it is may want to say, this country is a flourishing democracy due to the efforts of many leaders from across the political spectrum, not one family. And this is where the greatest disrespect is done to the common man perhaps of this country, who comes out and votes in large numbers to say that this is the person I want to choose, regardless of what party that person may belong to,
Okay.
whether
Fair.
it's Congress or JDU
Okay.
or
I'm going to call it
Alliance, Rainbow Alliance, whatever it is.
Okay,
So
I'm going
I
to call
think
it
that
truce
we
to this
should
particular
get
battle
over
for a
this
minute. I'm
obsession
going to
with
call
the
it truce to this
Gandhi
particular
Nehru
battle
family.
just for a minute. Sudha Pai, let me get you in on a slightly broader point, but that's before I move to the courts. This entire question of discourse, so we've been hearing that the Prime Minister is making very direct remarks about Rahul Gandhi and about the Gandhi family, which is one thing. You're also hearing the Congress party making very direct remarks about the Prime Minister, Chaukidari Chor hai, and the rest of it. I'm just trying to figure out, is this the way you think it's going to continue to 5 or 6 months? An increasingly personal and an increasingly bitter battle. Sudha Pai.
Well, it has become extremely bitter, very personal, and also unfortunately very issueless. That is, the attacks seem to be entirely on the party or on an individual and not on the achievements or the failures of any party, which is very unfortunate, because that is not how democracy should function. And I think as the campaign heats up and we get closer to the 2019 elections, this is going to get worse. There are a large number of issues that parties could actually focus on, and if they wanted to, for example, criticize Nehru, they could criticize his policies. They could criticize, if you don't like it, the fact that we had socialism and planning, a closed economy, that is something. Or you could criticize the present government on its economic policies. But unfortunately, I mean, democracy has not really taken root in the sense of a party and an opposition being able to face each other, to be able to work together, and to be able to take democracy forward. So I think it's become an extremely issueless debate. There are so many issues that could be discussed, and unfortunately, even on TV and in the newspapers, it is these kinds of barbs against each other which are being discussed. I think it's
well, on
most
TV,
unfortunate.
we get why it happens on TV, right? The more you're having television, unfortunately, is not made for detailed discussions on what's making inflation go down or what's making inflation go up, or how do you solve joblessness. It's much easier to get two people to shout at each other. for a variety of reasons, and that's the unfortunate truth of the way TV functions. But can I just get you in? What she said, in a sense, about the issuelessness and that being a problem with Indian democracy, actually it seems to be a growing trend across the world. I mean, look at what's happening in the US. It's a very similar sort of a trend, increasingly personal remarks, finger pointing, including in press conferences, and the outcome out of that.
Well, you know, I want to move beyond the base political rhetoric. Use the word rhetoric is what this is. But there is an issue here. And I'll answer your question.
No, the first issue is issuelessness.
Issuelessness,
personal attacks being the norm.
But there's an issue here, which is the deeply undemocratic nature of our political parties, which are in fact essential for democracy. Nobody will argue that Congress party is democratic. I will argue that neither is the ruling party democratic. You may have elections, but they're also not democratic. And transparency of funding and democracy within parties is in fact essential for the wider democracy. So even issues to come out. Today, you talked about the US elections. In the congressional elections, they had a debate and they said, whatever the barbs, we're going to focus on healthcare and we're going to focus on 2 economic issues, and that is going to be decided in a democratic manner and move forward. Now, that kind of democratic debate within which party is happening today in these elections or in the run-up to 2019. We need internal democracy in parties, which is not limited to one family or having a vote behind closed doors and saying we put one person in charge who's the president, who's now going to be dictatorial, to bring out the real issues.
So one thing, the Prime Minister today, the essence of his comment was that there should be inner party democracy in the Congress party. So why don't you have a non-Gandhi as the president? You know, but the overall question of
non-Gandhis have been presidents, no?
As he read out, it has happened in the past. But I'm saying, but that's the essence of what he said.
1.5 decades.
Like PM didn't have facts, I don't think, on this.
Not in last 1.5 decades.
It never has facts in any case.
Yeah. Okay, so the question now of issuelessness, both whether it's inner party democracy, otherwise in the election, becomes an important point, because if you're going to fight your election, then as we'll see, what is coming up, what the courts and others are saying, real issues will be buried. It will be on a bunch of personal attacks. So it's the persona of the Prime Minister and the attacks that will be made on him. It's the persona of the Gandhi family and the attacks made on them. And then a whole bunch of emotive issues like Sabarimala or Ram Mandir or whatever else that will come up. And that's what the election is going to be about, instead of Rosi Roti and all the substantive issues. Is that the direction we're heading in the semi-finals? Forget about the finals.
Because I have a little more nuanced view on this. I don't think elections in India are issueless, because increasingly I find, I've been covering elections for decades, compared to say 15, 20 years ago, manifestos are analyzed far more closely today than they were, say, 15 years ago. And today Modi government is being judged by media, by opposition, on a range of metrics, which when he came to power, with huge promises, flagship schemes, Ujjwala, roads, housing for all, and what have you, he's having to answer questions. All really? These.
Is that what you think the elections are going to swing on? Because there's another theory that the elections are not going to swing on any of that. Ujjwala is fine, you'll get the first gas cylinder, that's okay, you have to pay for the second gas cylinder. And by the way, this I'm not saying this from the opposition's point of view. Very senior people associated with the BJP, when you're asking them what's going to be happening in Uttar Pradesh, or for example next year, they'll say, well, all of these issues.
Let me complete. What I'm saying is, economic issues always matter. Inflation matters. Whether people, their incomes have grown, farmers, whether their incomes have grown matters. However, when a government does not perform on economic issues, they try to, particularly BJP has this great, they're juggling with 2 balls, and they move to emotive issues very, very seamlessly, and they'll come up with Ram Temple and various other things. So those are also issues. Yeah. In my view, you cannot argue that identity issues are not issues in Indian politics, whether it's caste or whether it's Hindutva. They are issues, and people are moved by those issues.
So let me comment. I saw it flashing briefly my infamous matrix, which I promise I'm going to keep on bringing up, because I'm going to say this is how you'll be able to judge exactly how the elections are going. This is all that I keep hearing.
You have
substantive. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to come in on this. So you have economics on both sides, and you have the opposition going on saying institutions are under threat, and then Rafale is going to keep coming up, because that's a way of tarnishing and putting a direct question mark on the image of the Prime Minister. On the BJP side, leadership. So the Prime Minister's attack today is essentially implying the Congress party doesn't have the leadership and we do. And then Ram Mandir. I really suspect this issue is going to come up. Now, let's put the matrix aside for a minute. Shantanu, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Let's all test the winds right now. Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh as starters, and then we'll see if that builds up to the general election. Is it going to be emotive stuff? I am a leader, they're not leaders, Chaiwala's become prime minister, they think that they have got it as an inheritance. So the questions about leadership, which are slightly emotive, also questions around Ram Mandir and other Sabri Mala, which we are hearing increasing a lot of. Is it going to be emotion? Is it going to be other issues?
I think Vikram is supposed, and I agree with Venu that saying that Indian elections are issueless, it's wrong. In fact, Indian elections are very nuanced. See, when you go to the election, the governance is already tested last 4 or 5 years. You don't test governances last 2 months. So if Ujjwala is going, if roads are fine, if electricity is going, is wheat prices giving, people have made their mind. But in the end, there is a swing that who can I relate to? And who can I relate to? Which kind of leader is he corrupt? So when I say, when Rahul Gandhi says Chaukidar Chor, they say Ma Bete Bail Pe, they're talking about corruption. Who is corrupt? So I think everything is an issue. And there is a rhetoric of election for sure. There is a jargon of election.
But
you can't say very dry parliament speech on when 1 lakh people are standing, right? So I think there are issues, but again, wrapped in a very presentable format so that people can consume them. So there are issues.
Vikram, can I say that Chaukidar Chor hai? It's not an emotive thing. It's not a
they're trying to put
it's not a personality type. Rafale has to be communicated to the people. So what is the simplest way in one line can you? So he's chosen that line. Whether you agree with it or not.
Actually, that's partly a way of explaining Rafale. But actually, if you think about
it's an economic issue. Yeah.
Economic issue? No, actually, in a sense, it's a way to try and devalue the single biggest trump card that the BJP has, which is Narendra Modi, and the fact that a vast majority of people, at least till a short while back, would still believe his intentions, would not believe that he is corrupt. Now, the Congress party, by going on saying by Rafale and by saying Chaukidar Chor hai, they're putting a question mark over the image of the Prime Minister and by implication, therefore, trying to devalue the biggest trump card.
They called Rajiv Gandhi Chor hai during Bofors.
Manmohan Singh in the parliament. Manmohan Singh in the parliament, they said.
So, it's not unprecedented.
Okay, it's not unprecedented, but that's at any rate what seems to be happening. Okay. So I'm going to slip into a break. Let's come back and let's take a look at this in a slightly greater detail as to what is happening. And then some of the big emotive issues that are now swirling around may have a lot to do with the courts. On the question of institutions, which was there in the matrix, on the question of the Ram Mandir, on the question of Sabri Mala and what's going to happen around it. The courts are going to be, I suspect, become a very important player. And some of the court decisions this week and next week may be particularly crucial. We're going to turn our attention to those court decisions when we return in just a couple of minutes.